Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks, and this is the Carbonation Conversation, The Outsider, Season 1, Episode 8, Foxhead. As I said before, we are closing in on the finale to The Outsider. If you have been joining me on this very, very long journey, I really appreciate it. But before we get into this review, as always, shout out to MoBeats89 for the music in the background, for the logos, for the music production and audio editing. Thank you, Mo. And if you're ever interested in anything that you see and you would like Mo to create you a logo, whether it's for a Twitch stream, Facebook account, business, yada yada, check out Mo's information in the description below. And don't forget to check out Smashing Buttons Volume 2 Beat Tape Heroes with MoBeats89 and Urain Kabashi's collaboration. It is a retro video game themed beat mixtape with some hip-hop elements, and it is fucking amazing. So, do I have anything else to say? Of course I have something to say. I have this Modella Negra here, the stronger of the two, so Ito told me, so let's happy new beer to that. And as always, we would like you, I would like you, Ito would like you, Mo would like you to definitely subscribe to Podbean, like us on Facebook, and also follow us on YouTube as well. That always helps us out with the algorithm. So when you Google, not necessarily Google, but search The Outsider Episode 8 Foxhead, the Carbonation Conversation will be just right up at the top there, waiting for you to press play. So let's get into it. And as always, if you do those things, this shout out is for you. So let's get it in, shall we? This episode opens up with Jack basically prank calling the police, trying to get into his place. He successfully does it, and he is looking like he is basically preparing for war. We see him basically had a hidden wall in the back that I am absolutely shocked that if you knew the type of guy that this was, and they were basically waiting for him, you know what I'm saying, they already know that he potentially attempted to kidnap and kill Holly Gibney. It's very strange that they didn't really check out that apartment fully to find them guns hidden in a hidden wall. But yeah, so Jack calls the police. He's basically saying a cop got shot. You know, that makes basically cops all converge on the scene. That basically wherever Jack told him, he goes to his house. He gets all of his ammo, basically everything that he needs, and he takes his car and he is out of there. Basically, we are introduced to a town called Cecil, and with the first thing that we see, where I do want to take note, is the Tiger Claw Cave. Apparently, it's this thing called cave stock that's happening over there. We're not quite there yet, but apparently it's. I've never even heard of this thing. I mean, you know, I'm a boy from the city, you know, living in Chicago, so I've never even heard of something like this. But apparently, you can take, you know, your RVs or take whatever, you know, it's like a whole festival type of thing, and basically you can go to over 300 caves. I would be a little bit terrified. I'm not gonna poo-poo on, you know, I love nature, but wow, that's pretty interesting. But anyways, we see Claude And he's in this town, and basically what we see is he meets up with his brother. His brother's working. His brother looks like, I don't know if he's the manager or he's working for a place that, it's like one of those places in the middle of the woods that they cutting wood. I don't know the specific title to that job, but they reminisce, they chat basically, and he basically, chats with his brother for a little bit, tells him that he worked at a strip club, and they're just kind of reminiscing pretty much. At this point, the clique is together. We got Howie, we got Peely, we got Eunice, Ralph, Jenny, and Andy. I believe I've said everybody. Hopefully I didn't keep anybody out of the clique. But we got them talking, and basically the conclusion of the information that Holly is giving them is like, hey, this thing is basically almost done transforming. And I think the best case scenario would be to just find Claude and be a witness to him, because the issue is everybody that El Cuco has transformed into and basically got them basically put in jail, there wasn't any reliable enough witnesses, I guess you could say, even though they had the recording of Terry. But I guess, since he died from the other kid, I guess, who knows. But basically, since everybody else had no reliable witnesses, Holly feels like she could be the witness. And you see Ralph, he is still kind of on like you can just tell his face that he's still a little bit uncomfortable with this. But basically what ends up happening is everyone agrees, including Ralph, not Jenny, not Howie, and specifically not Peely. He says he has something to do. They all stay, and the rest are going to go with Holly to basically be witnesses to Claude. They have an idea where he is, but they don't exactly know where he is. So basically they're going to first find Claude and then just basically hang around with him for, unfortunately, as long as it takes for Cuco to kill somebody who looking like Claude. And basically they're going to be witnesses saying, hey, they're going to be the witnesses saying, hey, he was with me, which basically kind of makes this going to, at least what they believe, is going to make El Cuco do shit that he doesn't usually do, because he usually has time to chill in the area, basically kind of manipulate the family that's associated with the thing. We've seen throughout his destruction, it's not just the person, the child that he kills. It's like both sides of the family, the child's family that he kills, and then the victim that he transforms into, also family. They're both devastated, and they both end up like committing suicide, and horrible things end up happening to them. So yeah, it's just pretty much a fucked up situation here. As they are leaving, Eunice does say, you know what, I think it would be reasonable for me to put out an APB on Claude so we can get a hold of him, a little bit easier. And so Eunice does put in a call to his people. We also see Ralph and Jenny talking, and Jenny really does not want Ralph to go. The reason that Jenny doesn't want Ralph to go is because she really feels like that he doesn't believe, and if he doesn't believe, he's not going to be prepared for what's about to come at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me take a Happy New Beer first. It's been a while. But like, if I tell you that dragons or a certain monster or whatever was real, and you didn't believe me, let's just for all intents and purposes say werewolves. If I told you that a werewolf was real, as one of my closest best friends, whatever, or even a cop to a certain degree, but I guess let's just stick to a best friend. I guess it works out like that. But if I was to tell you that a werewolf was real, and I would be telling you to get prepared because we about to go hunt this motherfucker, and your ass sitting up here not believing me, and then when we get to the point the werewolf is there, your ass ain't prepared for shit. You about to get fucked up, and you about to fuck all of us up who were basically prepared. And that's what Ralph's wife is basically telling him. And he is just like, no, I am gonna go. But before he goes, Howie does tell Ralph that, hey, just to let you know, Gloria isn't actually gonna sue your family. She's suing everybody else. But she isn't going to sue your family. And Ralph was a little bit taken aback by that, because Ralph was the person who arrested Terry, put his ass on blast pretty much in the middle of a game. But Howie does tell Ralph that the reason that Gloria is not suing him and his family is because she really do believes he is the only one that can solve this case. So it's like, oh, and weird at the same time. But we also see Jack, he's just heading, and he's heading wherever the fuck he's heading. I really don't know at this point. But what we hear, because he has a police radio, is basically that they put out an APB for him. I think it's APB, whatever. I've been just watching cop shows. I'll happy new beer to that. So at this point, Jack is already, he's just a little bit pissed off. And at the next scene basically following that, or somewhere along the lines of that, is as they are all leaving, Eunice goes with Andy. Andy asks Holly if they want to ride together, but Holly feels like she should ride with Ralph because Ralph is the only really truly non-believer here. So as they're heading there, basically Ralph tells Holly what happened. She basically tells him, hey, Jack took a whole bunch of guns and basically his car. And basically he tells the story of Jack wanting to be a sharpshooter. Unfortunately, Jack was a big badass, basically was good in every aspect of basically, I guess, the army or I don't know what particular class of military, whether Marines, Army, what, I just honestly don't know. I don't want to just poo-poo and dismiss it. But, basically, Ralph wanted to be, but Jack wanted to be a sharpshooter. And he passed all the tests except for the psych evaluation because that motherfucker looks crazy. And he looks like he's short-tempered. I could see nobody not giving him the authorization to do that. He'd probably be going rogue or some shit. But that basically destroyed him. It just basically kind of ruined him. And so Holly, to a certain degree, can see why El Cuco actually prefer to pick a person like Jack. Meanwhile, in the other car, we have a hilarious Eunice and the joke that Eunice. I love Eunice, man. The actor is phenomenal. Don't know his name. If you know the actor, please comment below. Let's get some interaction going here. I just don't know. I just don't have the actor's name right in front of me. But basically, he's telling Andy, he's kind of making Holly seem like a goddamn cult leader or priest. He's like, oh, you're a true believer. She's done this. She's walked on water. She's psychic. She has all these abilities. I mean, she is a phenomenal person. And I don't know if he's making a shout out to Stephen King's book. I know Holly Gibney is a reoccurring character. And I believe, if I am not mistaken, she does have some psychic abilities, at least in the books. And for all intents and purposes, who really knows what type of ability she really has in the series, because she is a special person. And Andy is just kind of like, what is going on? And he kind of see Eunice's face. Eunice is laughing and she's like, man, you got me good, you're fucking with me. And then meanwhile we go back to Holly and Ralph talking, and Holly is just like, hey, why'd you come? And Ralph is just like, I have to see, when all else fails, I guess we should believe in the boogeyman. And basically Holly is kind of saying like, even though I know you're kind of half in, half out on this situation, I'm really glad that you come. You basically ground me. You're the yin to my yang, basically. You know what I'm saying? You're the delicious. We are the delicious black and white cookie that are separate but equal and delicious. And basically Holly is just like, hey, you keep me grounded. You are the person who always challenges me. Sometimes I don't need a believer. Sometimes I just need somebody to be like, hey, you may be wrong. This sounds a little crazy here. And then we see, if I am not mistaken, let me look at my notes. Yes, Claude gets arrested. I'm not really going to go by scene in this, but basically the bottom line, because Eunice put out that ADP, or got his friend to put out the ADP in that area, Claude basically gets arrested. And then we are back with Holly and Ralph, and this is when Holly tells him that she had no idea about his son. Ralph does tell a very lovely story, because at this point he's like, ooh, I have something good for you. This is kind of the unexplained, beyond belief, fact or fiction. Do you guys remember that show? I used to fucking love that show as a kid. Anyways, Ralph tells this story about the day that his mom passed away. His mom wanted to listen to a particular song. I am assuming she was sick. I do not know for sure. I do not think Ralph specifically says how she died. Sorry if you hear that noise in the background. That is my heat coming on, which technically shouldn't be coming on because I am in Chicago and it's at least 50 degrees. Probably assuming the wife put it on, for the kid. But anyways, where was I? I totally lost that. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, Ralph is telling this story about his mom, and his mom passed away. Wanted to listen to a particular song, which I can only assume is on her deathbed. He was 15 when this happened, and basically he went looking for the song on the records, multiple records that she had. By the time he got the record, he came back up and his mom passed away. At this point, he had his son and he was heading back home, and he was just thinking of his mother like, man, I wish she could really see our son now, like I often do with my grandmother, who's no longer here. I've always like, man, I really wish you could have saw and met my grandson, your grandson, my son. And basically what ends up happening is that same song came on in the radio, and he basically looking at Holly, he's just like, what about that? What do you have to say about that? Is there any explanation for that? And Holly just looks at him. Happy New Beer. And says it's a coincidence. And he goes, really? That's all you got? Just a coincidence? And he is so shocked because obviously they're heading to basically try to protect some guy from an entity that no one believes in. They just bust out, start laughing. You know what I'm saying? That's just something that Ralph and Holly really, really needed. And I am really, really enjoying the chemistry between them two. You know what I'm saying? It's not like chemistry as far as dating, but they have a nice rapport. It's like Law and Order SVU. You know what I'm saying? Law and Order Criminal Intent with my boy Gorin on there. You know what I'm saying? I really, really love their partnership. And at this point, we're seeing Jack pull over. He's witnessing. Basically, he is because El Cuco is telling him to kill people and having him. El Cuco is eating the body of these people. Jack at this point is pretty just he's done. You know what I'm saying? He's at the point of no return. He's driving the person that he's killed for El Cuco's car, because remember, El Cuco isn't strong enough to really defend himself. He's still mid-transferring, so basically he needs Jack, just like he needed the other previous character. I forget his name. The black character who ended up killing himself in a police standoff. He needed them to basically do his dirty work, and he just eat the remaining shit. To basically eat the body after they done killed it. So Jack is basically driving, staring at this picture that the guy he killed has in his car, and basically El Cuco is like, give it to me. I see it's pretty much kind of distracting you. Jack is kind of freaking out. He's just like, man, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Shout out to that actor, because he doesn't say this. You can just see it on his face. His expressions is letting you know, like, bro, I'm at the point of breaking, of cracking. This is just not going the way I had it planned. Like, remember at the beginning of the season, all Jack wanted to do was just hunt deer in the woods, bro. That's all he wants to do. And now we got El Cuco in the back seat telling his ass again, like, bro, I'm hungry. He's like, motherfucker, I just killed somebody for you. He's like, dude, turns out that motherfucker had cancer. And Jack has he says some shit. He's like, well, I guess that old boy don't got to worry about cancer, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, Claude is in jail. He is talking about his lovely career and being a manager to a strip club that I am pretty well. I don't know. I mean, I was about to say that any heterosexual male would probably enjoy being a manager at a strip club, but I guess depending on if you're a married man, unless y'all got some type of arrangement going on, I guess that would be too much tempting. And I'm pretty sure your wife wouldn't be wanting you to work at a strip club unless you was making some dough. Happy New Beer. All of a sudden, Claude's brother comes in. And Claude's brother is one of those, I guess, asshole guys who thinks he can do and say what he wanted. He comes in, demands that his brother's released, starts some shit. His ass gets thrown in jail too, basically. And what we find out is the clique, I'm calling them the clique, they come, they pick up Clyde. It is a funny scene. You've seen this in a lot of movies where the higher ranking guy, that's bigger than any basically body, including the chief that's in this precinct, basically needs the release of a certain criminal. And at first they don't want to give it to him because they're like, you have no authorization here. And then they make a call. Kind of like that, basically. Get his ass out of jail. Claude's like, I'm not leaving if I don't take my brother too. Basically, Eunice's ass gets Claude and his brother out. Boss move. And basically, they go back to Claude's brother's house. And basically, Holly is honest with him. Holly tells Claude the truth. And, Claude is just like, what the fuck is going on? And then we have Peely and Howie, they're having a conversation. And, Peely is saying, one of the reasons why I didn't want to go when they was rallying the troops, hell, I fought in Iraq, and when I was in Iraq doing my thing, I always had the taste of copper in my mouth. And he's like, I'm not on that foot patrol shit no more. And he's just, he's not wanting to live. He don't want to live that life again. That this is war type of shit. And it's the same thing that kind of Jenny was relating to, because Ralph was just like, hey, no, we're just going to, be witnesses for Clyde. And Jenny was like, I don't think you know what you're about to do. Like, you don't know that this shit is about to be some type of war going on. And that's the same way that Peely was feeling as well. So it is interesting how there's a certain amount of people that's just like, hey, okay, we just gonna be Claude witnesses and everything gonna be cool. Do you think El Cuco is just gonna let you live after you didn't embarrass him on national television? Shout out to the great white hype Happy New Beer. At this point, we got Jack in the cave while El Cuco is eating some, and we can tell that he is pissed off because he is throwing the parts of whatever the fuck he is eating at Jack. And at this point, you gotta kind of feel bad for Jack. But also, you would think that Jack, being the biggest, baddest motherfucker that's, to be honest, on this show, who could probably take anybody in this show one-on-one, he is really, really just broken. I was about to say acting like a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm just gonna say he's broken. It's amazing to me the level of acting this particular actor, who is Jack, has. And definitely, if you can comment to me on the actors for Eunice and Jack in the comments on YouTube or Podbean specifically, I will shout you out the next Outsider Review, episode 9. I just don't have it on me, and my phone is over there. I'm drinking. I didn't have to shout. I'm feeling a little good. So, I want to just continue basically here. But yeah, so we do get a family that is on their way to basically Cave Stock. They've been traveling. It seems like a grandfather, grandmother, and their 2 grandkids. That's, for all intents and purposes, what it leads you to believe. We see the boy, who's the youngest, very, very hyped about going to the cave. He wants to see some, just prehistoric claws, some footprints, if possible, all this stuff. So we do see that this particular family is heading to Cave Stock. So we get back to Claude's brother's house, and they done told Claude, and Claude is a little bit like, what? Are you serious? This is some bullshit. You guys are fucking with me, right? But as we get a little bit more deep, we dive into how Claude has been feeling the last couple of weeks, because Holly specifically asks him that. Claude first denies it, and I believe he denies it at first, but then he honestly comes clean and goes, hey, I've been feeling like shit. I've been feeling somebody's been watching me. I see somebody in the mirror. You know, this is one of the reasons why I left. And Ralph at this point cannot believe what he's hearing. You know what I'm saying? He went here because no other paths, basically, you know what I'm saying, there were no other paths available. He exhausted everything. And I am a big sports fan, although I do not watch the full games anymore because I'm so busy. But I do watch a lot of Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, Undisputed. Shout out to them. And I always, and I'm probably not gonna phrase this right, but Shannon Sharp has a phrase, Unc, 'cause, you know, that's what we call him in the black community. Unc has a phrase, and he says sometimes a man will go down the very road. Well, he says sometimes a man, or anyone for that matter, to be honest with you, will end up down the very road he chose, or she, to avoid. Meaning, wow, I didn't turn my phone off. Ain't that some shit? But anyways, meaning sometimes it will literally, like, here's the road that you need to go down. Ralph could have honestly went down this road, prepared himself like Eunice, because for all intents and purposes, Eunice seems like he believes. Peely believes. He believes enough to stay the fuck home, at least at this point of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously Holly believes and Jenny believes, so mostly everybody is prepared to actually face something. But unfortunately Ralph is still not really prepared. So when he hears Claude say, it feels like somebody is watching me, I see somebody seeing me, looking at me in the mirror, that he can't take it at this point. He walks out, has to take a breather, smokes a cigarette. Holly kind of follows him out there. Holly says, you know what, maybe you need to go home. And Jaxel told us, I don't really do good with people telling me what to do. And Holly is just basically saying, like, bro, I need you to get your shit together. I need you to believe in this, because if you believe in this, you can help us. You're an asset, but right now your ass is a motherfucking liability, bro. Like, you need to get your shit together. And at this point, Ralph is like, I am doing it at my pace. Give me a minute. Holly is like, well, you need to, you can't have a minute. You need half a minute, brother. You got 30 seconds, because Holly really needs Ralph. She really does. And she's already admitted that she feels more grounded with him. So she is just like, bro, I need you to get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really, really do. At this point, Claude's brother, you know what I'm saying, he's looking at all these police officers. One, you know, a couple, he just got arrested. And I'm sure, you know, even Claude had some, you know, I don't want to say a bad rap sheet. I don't want to make the brother sound, you know, horrible, like he's a horrible person. But he was on probation when he was running that strip joint. So, you know, he is just like, bro, like, I need y'all to kind of get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, really, I need y'all to get the fuck out, but they can't. Everybody basically has to stay over. So we got Eunice sleeping in his car, but he's going to go check out something real quick because he saw something that needed to be looked at pretty much. We got Andy and Holly basically sleeping on the bench outside, so I guess it's nice outside right now. And we got Ralph basically claiming the couch, and we got Claude's brother pretty fucking mad. So we got room for basically everybody. And now we are gonna go to this random family that we have been watching, because what we are led to believe, El Cuco, he's almost finished transferring, and we know that the brother likes kids, or the being, the entity, whatever you want to call it, it likes kids. And what we are seeing is the youngest kid in this family is the boy. The girl, she's 12, 13, 14, so she's kind of trying to get her little groove on, talking to some boys that she saw at this festival, which leaves, unfortunately, her youngest brother basically for the pickings. And El Cuco has this mask because, again, this is, I don't want to say it's country, but it's wood, so they all got different type of masks. And he seems like he has like on a beaver mask, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but basically El Cuco is trying to lead this child to this cave that he tells the kid about, and the kid is just like, okay, I really, really would love to say that is just a Caucasian ass thing, but in actuality, it is a kid thing. Like, kids are gullible. Kids try to see the best in people. Hell, I still try to see the best in people, and sometimes it just honestly don't work out. It don't work out. Sorry, drinking a little bit here. And the kid follows El Cuco, and at this point the sister is noticing that he's not in her peripherals, and she's screaming out his name. And the grandfather, who at this point is just like, bro, we've been coming here for like 20 years, and I'm old. Like, back in the day, it was like a couple of dollars to come here. Now the shit expensive. I don't really want to be doing this anymore. And then he hear his granddaughter screaming and shit, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on? Where is where is the youngest? And they end up finding the youngest holding the hand of this grown ass random ass dude, and they go after him. And basically El Cuco does get away, but he does end up scratching not only the grandfather, but the mask comes off. And that's all we know at that specific point. Now, Ralph is waking up in the middle of the night by fucking Claude's dumbass brother, because he wants to take some random pictures and shit, because he's a little bit upset that cops just came up in his crib. And when the morning comes, everybody is waking up by Peely and Howie, because Peely and Howie do have a conversation previously, and Howie ends up coming back and he says he feels like he's abandoned. I'm sorry, not Howie. Peely comes back to Howie's office and says he feels like they abandoned Holly, because they were the people who introduced Holly to Ralph in this situation, and he really does feel like he left her on her own. And that scene does just end like that. Happy New Bear. So at this point, towards the end of the episode, we have Peely and Howie actually coming. Don't know how they met there. At this point, we on the 8th episode. We can do some time traveling. Game of Thrones did it a lot, so whatever. We got Peely and Howie coming, and you know the band is back together, baby. We got the old D-Generation X faction with Triple H, China, R.I.P., you know, and Shawn Michaels, the showstopper, and then now we got the new generation DX with the Road Dogg, Jesse James, and X-Pac, and we are just good. Everybody is good. It's a great moment. You know what I mean? And basically Claus Brothers like, fucking more people, really? And what we see is the cops actually come. And what the cops present is basically evidence that Claude tried to kidnap a kid. And Ralph and everybody who was there basically vouches for Claude and says Claude was with them. They see, you know, the cops pass them the tablet with the video of El Cuco trying to kidnap this kid, but he is in fact fully transformed and he looks just like Claude. And this is the first official confirmation that there is another being not of this world. So it is a very, very good moment. We got some nice fucking music playing in the background too. Shout out to whatever the hell that shit was. But it was awesome. We got Holly looking at Ralph and saying he's here. It's here. We got Ralph fully 100%. Ralph has just taken the red pill. Is it the red pill or the blue pill? I don't know. I haven't seen Matrix in so long. Whichever the fucking pill is. I believe it's the red pill. He is now in the Matrix. Now, let the games begin. Can we count here? We got Claude, his brother, Ralph, Holly, Andy, Eunice, Howie, Peely. We have 8 people fully committed to getting in El Cuco's ass. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks, and this is the Carbonation Conversation, The Outsider, Episode 8, Foxhead Review. I cannot wait to talk about Episode 9 and 10 because holy shit. 8 people against El Cuco. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, if you have made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. I really do. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow Facebook, Podbean, YouTube. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Happy New Year. Fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks, and this is the Carbonation Conversation. Drink and vibe. Don't drink and drive. Peace.